Hey guys, welcome to Crockpot Promises. This is episode 2 of the podcast. I'm Elijah Gonzalez, this is my co-host Gabe, and today the episode is called Crockpot Promises. We're going to be diving deep into what that means. We're going to talk about, how we came up with the title, where it came from, and then personal examples of our lives of what the title means. And so, I guess we get right into it then.
Yeah, we won't waste your time.
Yeah,
We'll
we
get
will
right
not
into
waste
it.
time. The idea of a crockpot promise is that when God promises us something, it takes time to receive what He's promised us before we actually get it. And we see this all throughout the Bible. We see that when David was anointed king, it was, I think, over 10 years before he actually became king. Joseph in Genesis, when he had the dream that he would be over his brothers, that didn't happen till like much later in his life, because he was still a kid, like I think a teenager,
He was like a teenager.
when he had the dream, and like old when he was finally over his brothers, and the dream came true. Abraham, same thing, was promised a son, and it didn't come till years later. He was also promised to have descendants, the number of the same whatever with the stars. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids. Okay, he was promised a lot of kids. He didn't even necessarily get to see that, but we see it now because there's a lot of them, and and there have been a lot of them, and the the whole idea is just the fact that God's promises take time, and us as people, as the ones waiting to receive the promise, need to make sure that we're making the proper preparations while it's cooking in the crock pot. Because the promises are in the crock pot, they're cooking, they're marinating, and God's like writing it out and prepping the food for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to make sure that we're making the proper preparations beforehand. That way, when the food's ready, we can eat it.
Yeah.
So, like, setting the table is, to go with the analogy, is an example. Like, because if the food's done, you still haven't set the table. By the time you're done, by the time you get everybody's food, it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
But if you set the table while it's cooking, make the proper preparations, and then when it's time, you receive it, everything is in its perfect timing, and it's good, it's delicious. God's promises are amazing, and we could actually go into some examples of like a real life, a real life example of what it would be like to receive something good outside of its time, because we see a lot of those just as much as we see receiving good things in its right time as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I know what you're trying to get at. One thing that I was going to say before we dive into examples is the world likes to think of everything as like a microwave ready type instance, to where especially it translates over to like modern day Christianity, when we do pray something, we expect the answer right then and there, or for us to feel immediate peace and immediate closure and reconciliation, you name it. And sometimes that prayer doesn't get answered for like months on end, years on end, as some of us will explain.
Yeah.
And we get upset at God for not answering our prayers on our terms.
Question if he's real. Question if he is even like who he says he is. Like, you just start going down into your own thoughts, and then God's like, here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I expect it done 30 minutes after I pray it.
Yes.
Or I used to,
Yeah.
as a new believer, and even some instances now, because we live in a microwave-ready world where everything's given to you in excess, because we have access to literally everything.
Yes.
And it's so easy to get information. It's so easy to get answers just by the search of Google, ChatGPT. Like, anything is at your disposal. And sometimes we translate that over to our relationship with God, and even just our expectations on people.
In life in general.
In
I
life.
feel like people chase instant gratification so much that they don't even think about the longevity of things. And I kind of feel like this is the intro still, but we're gonna get into it right away, and I'm gonna just hit the head nail, or what is it called? Hit the
hammer on
nail
the
on
nail.
the head.
I think it's hammer on the
Something.
nail.
We're gonna get right to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What our goal is to get people to understand how to think long term, to calculate the cost before making a choice, because people not calculating the cost is why the temptation of instant gratification is so like tempting, you know. But if you really step back, take a deep breath, chill out, you'll see that instant gratification isn't good. Long term thinking, longevity
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
The short term thinking is what is basically like what TikTok is doing right now. So like, it's 60 seconds or less. I know it gets talked about often, but it like trains your mind, or it
Yeah.
like brainwashes your mind. I'm not saying like TikTok's horrible.
And then all the videos, all you see online is get earn $100,000 in 1 month.
Yeah.
And it's like all right.
And it's like
False.
lose fat in 30 days.
Yeah,
And
lose
it's-
fat in 30 days.
Yeah.
Everything they're trying to, like, how you sell stuff to people nowadays is like, get it now and get it fast, and
Even
and
a
that's
car
it.
payment, bro. Oh my
Even a car
gosh. I was
payment.
looking at car payments,
Lord have mercy.
and just like the market, and it's saying like 0 cash down, make your first payment in 90 days. And so I'm like, bro, you know how many people will like fall for that? Just being like, oh, I can get the truck now and just pay later. I'm just going to get it now. And
Yes.
that instant gratification of just
you have it now.
having it now,
Yeah.
getting the content that you need, or into
When-
like our relationship with God,
Yeah.
expecting a serotonin and dopamine boost because of a prayer that gets answered to us.
Yeah.
That's something that like I fall a victim to, and understanding like things do take time to cook.
They do. And God takes his time. There's this one verse. I'm gonna butcher this, so I'm not even gonna try. But it basically says God is not slow to his promise. But for our sakes, he's patient. It like God is just, he knows what he's doing. First of all, he's 10 times smarter than 100 million times smarter and wiser than we ever will be. His understanding is not limited like ours is.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. And I've learned that time and time again, the easy way, the hard way, all the ways, that God truly does know what he's doing. He knows exactly how to do what he set out to do, because he's the one that created it all. He started it all, and he's in it all, you know? Praise the Lord.
Come on now.
Don't shoot where I'm about
Come
to take
on
this.
now.
Don't tell me. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'll take this mic and stand up.
Okay,
kid.
bro. Okay. Calm yourself.
But yeah. So now we could dive into our personal examples of what our crockpot promises are. And I could go as big or as small as I want. With this, I don't know. What do you think? Big or small?
I'd say small.
Small?
Small first.
Small first. All right.
Let's get the appetizer going.
Let's get the appetizer going.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
No, bro, don't tell
Oh.
me to take this mic.
Oh, shoot. A small one for me is my job. Compared to the other ones, all the other ones that I have that are, well, honestly, I don't know if there is a small one. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Well,
because
yeah.
they're all tied together
Yeah.
so well. Actually, I'll talk about the house. How's that? Is that
Crazy. Okay,
Crazy,
well
yes.
that's big, but
Yes,
yeah, let's
so-
go into it.
So, from I started my walk with God when I was in 8th grade, and from that point, I knew that my life was going to be different. I knew that I was never supposed to look like everybody else, and I have been holding myself to that standard since 8th grade. So I never did what the norm was. I've never touched drugs. We'll talk about that another time. I never touched alcohol. I never went to parties. I never got invited to parties. but I wouldn't have gone if I was. Okay, I was never invited.
You just wanted the invite just to
Bible
reject it.
study. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
I wanted.
okay.
Yes, I wanted the invite to reject
Just
it.
to reject
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
Dang, bro.
All right. Anyways,
Yeah. Okay.
so because of that, I had set in my heart, based off of a word that I received from God, that I was going to be a pastor. Um,
Dang, you
and
too, bro.
yeah, and so what I thought it meant at the time is not at all what I think it means now. And so because I was going to be a pastor, I was like, well, that means I'm going to be broke my whole life, because that's what I've been shown, you know? And so I was fully prepared to just not make any money.
Yeah.
Sorry, got off
You were
topic.
willing to be frugal.
Yeah, so I was
and
willing.
find the sugar mama is what you were trying to say.
In Jesus' name.
And
So in my mind, I was like, all right, God, I don't think that I will be set up, financially. And then I started worrying about, like, all right, well, when I go to ask permission for my wife's hand in marriage, I'm going to say I'm selling him a dream, basically, of like I'm not going to make money, but God will provide. And so what I would do is I would read the Bible and look for God's promises. And his promises from the very beginning of my walk have been the core of me, because because I was lied to so much. I was taken advantage of so much. When my parents split up when I was in 8th grade, which is why I started going to church. Um, Everything that they went through in court, I thought I could share something personal with one parent and just like vent and let out what I was feeling, and then they would take that and use it against the other parent in court. And I was like, how the flip did they even know that? And then find out that everything, and we're gonna talk about it a lot more in the in episode 4, because I've found out my but just both parents, there was just a lot of lies. There was a lot of lies between other family members as well. I got shunned by a whole half of my family, and one Crockpot Promises that now we're rebuilding, and there's this song called "Too Good to Not Believe."
Oh yeah.
And there's a part in there where it says, "I've seen families reunited."
Yeah.
And when that part came on, I didn't sing it.
Like triggered you?
Yeah, and I was like, God, I don't believe this.
Yeah.
But if the writer has seen it, then I know it's not just for him. It could be for me too.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next time they went around to it, I sang it, not necessarily because I believed it, but because I believed God could, and it was more of like a plead, like, God, please help me see my family reunited.
Yeah, you're proclaiming.
And bro, after that, it was just insane. I'm rebuilding a relationship with my mom. Me and my brother are we're better now than what we were when we lived together. It's still a little bit rough, but it's growing, and I love my brother, and he can I know that when I need him, he'll be there for me. And I know that when crap hits the fan, I'll be there for him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we bump heads, and from the time we were little, like anytime we'd bump heads, we could still work together. We just hated each other while we did it,
Yeah.
But my sister, my older sister, my relationship with her is great, and throughout the divorce, it was severed so terribly. I actually hated my sister. And then found out later on, this is part of the lies, that she was the victim in all of this. And that was like eye-opening, and I broke down because I felt so terrible about myself that I would treat my sister this way because of what I was told, but then never actually questioned what I was told. I just blindly followed. But that's restored. We're actually in her house right now.
Yeah.
Because she has always been selfless, always been loving and caring, and it's like, no, I will love you no matter what. And so now I take that same love that I received, apply it to my relationships, especially with the children that I work with, and And then my little sister, my relationship with her is good because that one was severed too. Like, bro, the amount of division that we had was insane. And honestly, forget about the house. We're going straight into the family stuff.
Okay. All right, bro. I know. I was about to say, where's the house? But go
Yeah.
for it, bro.
I've been able to see my family come closer and closer and closer together, and now my mom is making the moves that I always believed that she could make towards God, and I have been preaching at her since 8th grade about, like, mom, do this, you should do this, you should do this. And I will admit, at times it was self-righteous, it was out of love, but I did think that I was better or holier. Now it's like, bro, I'm just as bad, but because I'm just as bad and I've changed, now I can help you. It's not I have no idea what you're going through, but I know how good I am, so I can change you. It's like, bro, I'm right there with you. Well, I was where you were at, but then I found God, learned from God, and applied it to my life. Now I live different. That is a crockpot promise, because God promises us that type of character, that type of relationship, that He would take us from glory to glory, that He would love us, that he would continue to show us His good works day in and day out. And now I live that. I get to see that, and it's a very, very beautiful thing. That half of the family that shunned me, it's pretty good now.
Yeah.
Actually, they all came to my birthday party. They all we all do stuff together. Now when I say hi, like, they say hi back and they look at me, because like, it was that bad to where, like, I'd still go to the Thanksgivings and stuff.
But they wouldn't like acknowledge you?
No,
Really?
they would not. They would not acknowledge
Oh,
me. They would not make eye contact with me. Like, there was no handshakes, like nothing. And I was like, okay. That's why, actually, Cabin, that's why I would go with your family so much, because Cabin's our main man behind the camera. Shout out to Cabin.
Shout out KB.
We love you, Cabin. Cabin, yeah, actually, I met Cabin in 8th grade, and we started our walks with God together. Bro, Cabin, we should have gave you a mic. That way you could talk a little bit about it too. But another time. Yeah, that's fine. But I would always be with Cabin, and his mom basically adopted me. She still calls me son.
Yeah.
And Cabin's dad also calls me son. They've always treated me kindly. And yeah, so my family being reunited is one of my biggest crockpot promises, because I went from not believing, or first of all, being so divided, not believing that we could ever be together. I thought that the last time I would see my family together was in court, and that was the only time that we'd be together. And I don't want my parents to get back together or nothing because of what had happened, which, again, we'll get into that episode 4. But honestly, that's it.
Yeah.
We're good. We're doing good.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we have our
Well, that's
regular fights, but the fact that we're fighting,
Exactly.
like, we're together.
That's exactly what I was
We
going
are
to
together,
say.
you
It's
know?
the fact that
I could call my mom.
even though it's never going to be perfect,
Yes.
now since you're at a place where you're like, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm at least with them now. I can at least
I
have
hated
the argument.
talking to my mom. I would not call her. I would not text her. I would not tell her that I love her. I did not do that. I could not do that. It like physically hurt me to do that. I just stopped giving her hugs. Like, and then I only saw her because I was forced to, for 4 hours every Sunday. And I made sure to do it on Sunday. That way I could sit and watch the football game without any, and just talk to her on the commercial breaks. Like, I was so angry and so caught up in my way, and to find out that all of it was based off of lies. What's that one verse? The truth shall set you free. Bruh. That my mom my relationship with my mom is is a real life personal testimony of that verse. Find out the truth, bro. I live with her now. For the fact that I brag about living with my mom is crazy. But that's
No,
how much
bro.
we've grown and talked and we've worked on it. Is like, no, me and my mom are good. I love her. I can tell her that I love her. I could call her. I can text her.
Mm-hmm.
I can live with her. Cause I ran away. Like I legitimately ran away.
Like a
Twice.
overnight bag,
Yes.
and like you walk to like a park and just walk back
I walked through a field, got picked up
from
from
the field.
from the field, and her house was like by some ranches and stuff. So I walked through a field.
Oh.
Well, me and my brother did.
Oh,
Uh,
you in?
Yeah, this is the second
Really?
time. This is the second time. The
So-
first time, I sat her down and told her I was leaving, and I was like, "I'm not coming back until you change." And I told her this as a freshman in high school.
In high school, the audacity, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Holy cow.
I was on one, for sure.
Clearly.
And that's something that I regret a lot, and that I still ask for forgiveness for, honestly, especially with my sister, because my issues were between me and my dad, me and my mom. But my sister, my oldest sister, she was so attached to my mom that I just associated them as one.
As one.
Yes, and so then
just guilty by association.
yeah. So the first time I left, I sat them both down together, and I was like, the way you guys are living is not right. Completely self-righteous. It's not okay. Don't do it.
Wow.
Well, my heart behind it. Not saying don't, have that conversation. If you gotta get out, get out. But I told them, I was like, I'm not coming back until you guys change. Grab my backpack, grab my science project, and I walked to the one of our local ice cream shops. Got picked up by my basketball coach.
I was about to ask, where'd you go?
That's another Crockpot promise, though, because that coach that picked me up, I am now a coach of the same league.
That's wild.
2 championships, dog. We
Okay.
just started our 3rd season now, but this year I'm coaching little kids, 2nd through 5th graders. Adorable. I love them. If you guys are watching with your families, I love you guys. Let's go win a championship this year. Come on now. But yeah, so that's what happened, and all that just to say, now I can talk to them. Now I can show my love to them. Now I can not only show my love to them, I could receive their love, because I hated it when my mom would tell me that she loved me. I hated it, and it would make me cringe so much, and like that's just how hard-hearted I was, how broken and hurt, and all these things and more. I've worked through. I've gone through all the steps, I guess, whatever you want to call it, and now I live a life where I'm not in that prison anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not caught up in that, and I'm doing a lot better at working on my unforgiveness right away rather than letting it sit.
Mm-hmm.
And praise God for that.
Yeah, that's a whole process, bro, of having to like. Forgiveness is a funny thing. I'll just say it like that. Forgiveness is a funny thing. That's one of like the Crockpot promises that like I can't see yet. So I know we're talking about ones that have already happened, but that's one that I haven't seen yet in myself, but I am continually praying for.
Yeah.
And so I would go into like one of mine just to kind of go over it now is when I've never dealt with grief before. And grief to me was just something that happens to people when like you're 50, 60.
Yeah.
Like my parents. And I've seen like my uncle, who I wasn't really close with, passed away.
Okay.
And it was sad because it was like a family member.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anybody like relevant or significant to me, as like bad as it may sound.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. So, for those of you that are like listening and watching, you guys probably know that like my mom passed away 2 going on 3 years ago. And so the whole like crockpot promise of that is that I didn't know how to grieve properly,
Mm.
and in not knowing how to grieve properly, I've made like some bad decisions, and I like tried coping with it in ways that I shouldn't have. One of those being forgiving
Mm-hmm.
myself, forgiving um in a way like the situation, and like not that I owe God forgiveness, but just understanding that God didn't intend for that to happen.
Yeah.
Um and so in like my crockpot promise, like I now know how to grieve offensively
Mm.
rather than grieve like and just like wallow in my sadness and use
Mm.
it as a tool for me to cause my own destruction.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so um because when it like first happened, I was kind of just like out of shock, and I didn't know how to move forward because it's been me and my mom since like I was born.
Yeah.
Like I didn't grow up with,
She's your day one.
bro, she's
Praise
she's
God.
my day one. And I didn't grow up with a dad like consistently. My dad, I would visit him and I wouldn't remember who he was like the next time I visited him. So it was
Mm.
always like a
Reintroduction.
reintroduction, like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm your dad. And so up until I was like 9 or 10, it was just that.
Yeah.
So it was just me, my mom, my aunt, and my grandma.
Okay.
Three Mexican women. Your boy was fed all the time. I'll just say that.
Mm.
But
God is good to us. God is good to
you know what I'm saying?
us.
But since my mom was all that I knew, as well as my aunt and my grandma, but just as like a figure that I can look up to, um, then all of a sudden, like we're in the hospital, like it's the last day pretty much, and like now having to walk away from the hospital, and like the world doesn't stop. But sometimes I would just want the world to stop just for them and the world to just know that like I'm in pain right now. Let's like not go through this anymore.
Mm.
Just give me a break.
Yeah.
Um, and so I wouldn't know how to like fully process it, and it
Yeah.
turned to holding things in. It went into acting like I was good when I really wasn't.
Putting on
It
the
was
face. Yeah.
to saying yes to things to keep me busy, and like just kind
Mm.
of pushing it in the back burner.
Yeah. You would distract yourself.
Bro, distraction
I
100%.
did that. I did that a lot too. I get that.
Bro, I think it's one of the most common ways to deal with or to not deal with things that
Yeah.
we're confronted
Good
about.
correction. I like
Yeah,
that.
is distracting ourselves with things that by the time it comes to the point of that thought in our head of fixing something, confronting someone or something, we're like, but I was busy today.
Yeah.
So I treat it the same way of my like situation of losing my mom as
Mm.
like a I'll just go to work, I'll hang out at the church more, I'll do more for the church, I'll keep myself busy, do this, we'll do that, we'll do this and the other.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where at nighttime I'd be so depleted of the energy I was just like pouring out
Yeah. You
that
have no more
I would have
left.
no more.
Yeah.
And it came to a point where then at night I couldn't sleep, and then I would show up to work the next day. At the time, I worked at an animal shelter, so I'm working by myself most of the time, and so I'm just like crying as I'm doing dogs' laundry,
Oh
and as I'm
dang.
like cleaning like their food bowls and their crap,
Wow.
and it just was like I was so isolated during that time, and so
I didn't know that.
yeah, it sucked, bro. Like it would be I would like be cleaning like the dog's like poop and stuff, and my coworker would like walk by and like crack a joke or like say what's up, and I couldn't look at them.
Mm.
Like I would just like go put my head in a corner because I didn't want them to know that like I
You were
was
crying.
bawling my eyes out, bro. I would leave work. Yeah, it just wasn't a good period in my life, and it took up until probably her birthday, which is coincidentally
Okay.
New Year's Day,
It's your mom's birthday.
mom's birthday.
Okay.
So January 1st, 2022, I was like, no, like I have to be better than this. And so the Crockpot promise pretty much starts there
Mm.
of knowing like I can't keep doing this way because I know that if I can't grieve properly, every other aspect of my life is going to be sacrificed at the cost of me not dealing with grief properly.
Yeah.
And so
That's
that's
good.
when, coming to fast forward a year and a half to today, I now know how to openly talk about my mom and to use like the whole situation as not only a way to help heal myself by just talking about it, but there's been one high schooler that lost their mom recently
Oh, wow.
in the time that I was going through grief myself. And if you know who you are if you're listening, and I love you so much. Um, but like it was a time for me. It's like, oh, this person's coming up to me for help now, and like I gotta figure out
You gotta know how
I
to
gotta
help.
figure out how to help,
Yeah.
other than like it both happened to us,
Yeah.
and it's grown into something so beautiful now, um, to
Where you
where
kind
like
of get to figure it out together.
in a way
That's cool.
she the person whose mom passed away, she actually opened me up to go into therapy.
Oh, really?
A high schooler. I
Praise
like
God.
I'm the one giving a message in sermons and checking in on her every week, and then she was the one that actually brought up like, "Hey, I go to this person."
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, like
That's
I'm
cool.
I'm older than you and you're still telling me like this is useful information." I now
Mm.
have no pride in how to like get right with myself,
Mm.
and I'm willing to take that advice now.
That's good.
Um, and then it goes into just the Crockpot promise of knowing how to grieve properly and how to not use the loss of my mom to identify myself as someone who is without a parent, but I can now use the loss of my mom as fuel to get better in so many different ways, spiritually, mentally, physically, because life is not promised.
Hmm.
Like God, Jesus literally says, like, just worry about today.
Yeah.
Because
And tomorrow will have enough worries of for itself.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like understanding that life isn't fully promised, I need to get better today.
Hmm.
Like the hope of this podcast is when anybody listens to it, is that we get 1-2% better every single time we listen to it. Every time we open up our Bible, every time we go to our friends and family
Yeah.
and confess or just have fellowship or go to church or whatever it may be. Um, that's probably like the biggest crockpot promise, because
Yeah.
now since I know, it's
Can we,
affected my whole
can
life.
we add to that a little bit? If you're comfortable with it. If not, it's perfectly fine. But while your mom was in the hospital, she kind of confirmed some uh promises for you
Yeah,
at the very end. And
yeah,
and when you first told me that story, I was like, bro,
yeah,
that is beautiful, because it was a just a full on God moment
bro.
with your mom. And could you share?
Yeah. So I call this like the story of Teresa Faith. My mom's name was Teresa,
Okay.
like Mother Teresa.
Okay.
And so I call it
She
this,
holy
bro.
holy.
She's holier than thou, God. Um, so the story of Teresa Faith is, on September 16th, she passed away at 11, um, like 11 o'clock in the morning. But I was going to work, animal shelter, 8 o'clock. And then as soon as I'm about to walk out the door, my mom's been in the hospital for 20 something days. Every single day is kind of just like, I guess we'll see if we get any news. Any news is good news in a sense of family being in the hospital for that amount
Yeah.
of time. So it's
Yeah.
like, if we get any news today, like,
Wait, so
good.
this 2021, so is it still like super strict on who can
Yeah.
be in the
So
hospital and
this
stuff?
whole entire time, no family could visit.
Oh, none at all.
None.
Oh, it was
None.
during that time.
Yeah, no family could visit.
Golly.
And like it gets into like, are you vaccinated? Are you not vaccinated? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
at the time, and I'm not, like, I don't know if that is weird or not, but like I wasn't. So
I would say if God didn't tell you to do it, you should feel no pressure.
yeah. So um, I wasn't able to visit. My aunt wasn't able to visit.
Mm.
Prior conversations, like my mom in the hospital with COVID, 20-something days. She was tired. She had pre-existing conditions. So it just wasn't a good situation.
Yeah.
And so we had a phone call with the chaplain, the doctor, my mom, my aunt, and then me, um, which my Zoom wasn't working to log in, which I think was a blessing because if I was in that Zoom, I think like I would have been a little bit more frustrated of how the conversation turned out. But basically,
Wait, so she had this conversation with you over Zoom?
no,
Okay,
no,
okay,
this
okay.
is leading up to
Before.
it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, in the Zoom call, my mom said, "I'm tired. I'm done fighting. It's okay if I go." And the chaplain's there just for support, like spiritual support, emotional support.
Yeah.
And then the doctors are saying like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" My aunt's like pleading, and I was at the Northwest campus, and
Which is our church.
which is our church.
Yeah.
And so I was like trying to log in. I went to the church for a reason to
Yeah.
have some alone time, and the Zoom call wasn't working. Um, but she basically said like, "I'm done fighting. There's been no like sign of progress, and like I'm okay." And then she told my aunt, "I know you will take care of Gabe. Like you don't have to like worry. It's going to be okay." And so fast forward 2 days later, on September 16th, I'm about to walk out the door to go to work because everything is in the unknown. And my aunt gets a call from the hospital. And my aunt's like, "Oh, I gotta answer this really quick." Like my hand's on the door, like keys in hand, like hand doorknob in hand, and she just like looks down on the ground and says like, "Are you serious?" And I like stopped and I was like, "No, like this isn't good." And so my aunt was like, "Okay, okay, yeah, we're on our way." Hung up the phone, and I was like, "Was that the hospital?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's the hospital." Um,
Bro, you got
basic,
my heart beating right now.
bro.
Like,
Basically, they said like my mom took a 180-degree turn for the worse,
oh
and that
wow.
like it's gonna happen today. She will pass away today.
Oh wow.
So like you need to go. We don't know how much time she has left, and so like changed went, and at this time she refused to be intubated. So it was like, gosh, my mom's stubborn, you know.
Praise God.
But if she was intubated, like totally different story. So they had to put 2 oxygen masks on her, um, and 100% oxygen on both masks,
Okay.
just so that she could breathe. And so I walk in. I know the whole situation. COVID. She can't breathe. She's on 2 masks of oxygen. Um, she's like just basically deteriorating as a human
But they let you inside.
because she was going to die.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because. And
That
so
makes sense.
that was the only exemption of me seeing my mom was that, oh yeah, like she's pisses me off. Like, oh, she's gonna die anyways. Like, I guess you can go in now. That's what it made me feel like.
Oh boy.
Yeah, bro, I was heated. And so we get to the room, and they basically are like prepping me. You have to put on like
Yeah, the whole
the
get up and
whole
this. Yeah,
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 the
yeah.
visor, the mask, like everything. And
Yeah.
they're explaining to me,
Like 2319 type of stuff.
bro,
Okay.
like it
Not to make
reminded
a
me
joke
of like
out of it, but
Monsters
like,
Inc.
yeah, there's 2319.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
2319.
Oh, that's what 2319 is?
Yeah, yeah. You didn't get the
No, I
reference?
didn't, bro. That's funny. But yeah, they were setting me up, and I felt like so out of myself. Like, this
Yeah.
is so weird. But they were basically like mentally preparing me for what was about to happen.
Mm.
They're like, "Hey, your mom's not doing too good. She might look this way. She might act this way. She might not talk. She can't breathe." And I was like I don't really care.
Just let me see my mom.
I just want to go in.
Yeah.
Bro, the second I see my mom and my mom sees me, she instantly, she's laying down and she instantly gets up and is like, "Oh, mijo." And I'm like, I always think about it, but imagine if I was allowed to go and visit her
Yeah.
the 20-something days prior. And her spirits were like immediately lifted. Her health was not, but her spirits were.
Yeah.
And
The
so,
isolation didn't help. Is that what you're getting
bro,
at?
isolation, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I get it.
me and my aunt talk about it every now and then of like, imagine if we were able to.
Yeah.
And that's always a doubt and like something that I'll always have to like
doesn't the Bible
think
say
about.
like laughter is good medicine, and
Bro.
like there are things that lift your spirits, and your mental health affects the physical.
100%.
So anyways,
100%,
continue,
bro.
please.
And so, yeah, me and my aunt always talk about it like, dude, it would be like, it might not be the story that we wanted to write, but maybe she could have been more happier. You know, like she could have had like us there for the 20 something days that she was there for.
Yeah.
But like we basically just were talking to her and she couldn't really talk that much. And so she was taking deep breaths after each sentence. And the more and more further we got into the hour, it was just depleting to where she couldn't talk anymore. But basically, me and my aunt are there to say our goodbyes. We understand what's going to happen. And my mom just wanted to go. What I didn't know is that she had talked with God and she had actually like made her case with God. She had asked for forgiveness. She had asked for peace.
Yeah.
Because she said that like she knew her fate. And so she came to the conclusion of like, yeah, it's okay. I'm 58 years old and I'm going to pass away. But everything is fine. And so the three things that you're referring to of like this whole story of Teresa Faith is we're like trying to lift her spirits up. I'm talking about the times where I would get mad at her for taking away my PS4.
You and your wife were you guys engaged already?
No.
You weren't engaged.
3 months after.
Oh, 3 months. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
or like 2.5 months after.
Okay.
Which is coming from this now. Just trying to like make her happy. We're like talking about the times she took away my PS4 because of my grades. Like we're talking about all the times we were fighting and how we're laughing at it now. And it was just like, it was a good moment because we're able to like smile because literally within the hour she passed. But when we got to talking about like, yeah, it's like, it's okay if you go. Like oh man. It's okay if you go. And she said, holy cow, bro.
You're okay.
No,
You're okay.
Forgive me, guys.
No, it's all right. Take your time.
She said, after I told her it's okay if you go, she said, I love you. I want you to know these things. I love you so much, and you're the greatest son I could have ever asked for. Number 2, I want you to finish school. Get your degree because of me. And 3, tell Logan that I love her and I know she'll take good care of you. And those 3 things, bro, is like, oh my gosh. I hate crying. Those 3 things were like so moving for me because she was able to come to a conclusion to where she had made her final case with me. I got the closure that I needed. My mom and I would argue all the time just because she was stubborn. I was stubborn. I'm literally her kid.
Yeah.
Like it's
You're a product of her. Yeah.
Dude, like me and her would butt heads all the time, and me and my aunt would always be like closer because I could go to my aunt. She'd understand me.
Yeah.
Me and my mom are beefing. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to talk to my aunt.
I get it.
But like I never got the full reconciliation prior to that moment. And for her to openly say like, you're the greatest son I could have ever had. That gave me the closure like, okay.
Like that freedom, like
okay, like I can, this day can happen and I can move forward with it knowing that you thought this way of me.
Yeah.
Number 2, I hate school. I hate school, bro.
Yes.
But for her to say like, keep going. I graduated from BC, but I'd never got my diploma. She never saw my diploma from BC.
Yeah.
I'm the first in my family to graduate from college.
Yeah,
So I sent her.
You did do it.
I
You
did do it.
Praise
And I
God.
sent her a picture of my diploma while she was in the hospital.
Mm.
And I was then going to school for my bachelor's, which I now have.
You did that too.
Did
boy.
that too. You know what I'm saying, dog? And
Proud
so,
of you.
like, her saying that is like, I know what she really wanted for me, and that was to go to school. Because even though I hate school, like, sometimes that education works out for you. Sometimes that piece of paper does.
Yeah.
But now I have a whole new motivation to turn in that assignment before 11:59.
Yeah.
Because, like, nah, mama said so.
Mama said.
Mama said so. And then number 3, this one, Logan might be, like, a little bit embarrassed about, but Mexican moms with boys as children, like, Logan was scared of my mom.
Yeah.
Because my mom,
Rightfully so.
my mom
Rightfully
was
so.
like 5'3" and like super intimidating, and she would get mad and angry, and she didn't like any girl that I would ever talk about.
Praise God.
And
As it should.
when Logan came around, it was like, oh no, you're taking my son away from me. And my aunt would constantly talk to my mom of like, this is gonna happen eventually. Like, he's
You gotta let go.
yeah, he's older.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to let this go. And my mom was like, no, like, that's my baby,
Not
whatever.
my son.
And I and I get it too.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking the same way like about my daughter now. So it's just a parent thing.
It's just.
It's
okay.
just a parent thing.
That makes sense.
But for her to say, tell Logan I love her, and I know that she'll take good care of you. One, my mom ain't never said that she loved Logan.
Oh wow.
Like, it wasn't something that was like there.
Yeah.
And my wife, Logan, like, didn't really know, like, does
Yeah.
she like me? Does she not like me?
Which, side note for a second, ain't nothing wrong with Logan.
No,
Logan's cool.
This is
She's
strictly,
really cool.
This is strictly my
Yeah,
mom just being my mom.
protectiveness. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And Logan was like, I don't know, like, if she likes me, like, she made this comment or like,
Yeah,
what, you know,
yeah,
whatever. And
They're always doing little jabs.
bro,
Oh
yeah, my
my
mom was ruthless, dog. But to get the closure of like, my mom believes in Logan.
Mm.
My mom knows that like Logan will take good care of me.
Yeah.
Since she will be in heaven, she knows that Logan will be a great like replacement or like someone to carry on the care.
Yeah. I think carry on the care.
That's
is a good
like the
way.
best way I could put
Yeah.
it.
It's not a replacement. Carry on the care.
Yeah. And so that gave me like all the closure that I needed in that moment.
Mm.
And
She really tied up all the ends, huh?
dude, and the craziest part about it is I have it tattooed on me. But we had to go through my mom's phone to see if there was any pictures worth saving. But when we took the phone home, you know, if you like press or like slide up, it'll show all the apps that you're using.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the last app that she had opened was the Bible app.
Wow.
Crazy, bro.
Crazy. Yeah.
The very last app that she used was the Bible app. And you can check on your streaks when was the last time you logged in, and it was September 14th, 2 days before.
Okay.
So when she had the Zoom call saying that she's okay with going. And so it's Isaiah 54:10, and it's Isaiah 54:10, and it said like, if the mountains move and like the hills depart, like, don't be scared because like my compassion is over you.
Wow.
Bro,
Wow.
like all the closure that she could have ever needed
Yes.
is in Isaiah 54:10 to her.
Wow.
And it's the last verse that she read. And so having like the closure and also can like always go back to that moment of knowing like she has a crockpot promise herself, of like coming to terms with death, coming to terms with like meeting her maker,
Yeah.
is like, whoa.
God really did that for her.
God did that for her.
That is grace
Yeah.
and love.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know how we got to that, but
We're just asking about the Crockpot Promises because she she confirmed and kind of like spoke them over you. Finish school, and tell Logan that I love her, and then you finished school, got both degrees, and married Logan.
and I proposed to Logan 2.5 months after,
2.5 months after,
which was
married her.
a confirmation for me. Was like,
Yeah.
Logan is
Logan
my
is
wife.
yeah, married her a year later because you proposed in December, married in December, right?
Yep.
And then 2 months later,
Yeah. Wasted no time. Ended up
conceived
pregnant.
the child. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Let's just say I did the math and I thought it was hilarious.
Oh,
I was like,
man.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know what she was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
now
that-
she's 6 months old.
Yes, the baby Briella.
Briella is 6 months old. And
Good,
so
great child.
going into like Crockpot Promises, all of that is a Crockpot promise. Things that
Yeah.
didn't happen overnight, things that took progress, things that took time and effort and like pleading with God for grief, for my now wife, for like God, like I want to be a father.
Yeah.
Is this in our hands? Like, is this something you would bless us to be?
Mm.
And now like going into the continuation of like the Crockpot promise of showing Briella who my mom was.
Yeah.
Now, since I know how to grieve offensively and not just like completely tear myself down,
Yeah.
I know how to like go about teaching my daughter who my mom was
Okay.
because she was such a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And in that is like I have an idea of creating a book for Briella that's a book about my mom with like
Okay.
animations and pictures and stuff. And it'll like just say more or less like what my mom was about, what kind of person she was. And then she's 6 months old, so like you're reading to her nighttime stories, bedtime stories. And so like being able to utilize the Crockpot promise of grieving in a good and productive way, and then at the same time like showing Briella who my mom was,
Yeah.
and not having it be like a negative connotation towards death.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to approach that yet, but it's going to be
that's
something.
Yeah, that's something that we could talk about. Sorry, that's something we could talk about. Is once you receive the blessing, like it's not like an arrival thing.
No.
You have to steward the blessing.
Yeah.
You have to take care of it. You have to, make sure that because the God that gives is the same God that can take away. You don't want him to take it away, so take care of it. And what's crazy is that like we think that when I say take care, what we will do is idolize. That's wrong. How you take care of what God gave you is by giving it back to God. Being like, all right, God, you gave me this. You show me how to do this. You show me how to take care of this. You show me how to love.
Yeah.
You show me how to, all the things involving this thing. And it's almost as if every single thing requires us to surrender to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
As if that was the design from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
Another one for me that we could get into is brothers. There's this passage in the Bible. It takes place right after the rich young ruler. And if you don't know what that was, basically this guy asks, what must I do to inherit the kingdom? Jesus says, sell all your belongings and give it to the poor and then come and follow me.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude leaves because he's super sad about it and because he was very rich. Then Jesus turns to the disciples and says it's very hard for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. And then Peter is like, well, what about us? Or no, Peter said, well then who can enter? And then Jesus responded with, "Man, things are impossible, but with God, all things are possible."
Mm-hmm.
And then Jesus said, then Peter said, "Well, God, we've left everything for you. We've left everything to come and follow you." And then Jesus' response was, "Truly, truly, I say to you that he who has left house, brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, um, will receive 100 times as much now in the present age, mothers, brothers, sisters, house, farms, along with persecutions, and in the age to come, eternal life." And that meant a lot to me because, again, I've lived in 14 different places. I've moved a lot. I've left a lot. Um, you know, I've seen some things. I've been through some things. So every time I would leave, um, like my family, I did that because every single time I only left if I felt like I had peace from the Lord and direction from the Lord to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I never left just because I was emotional and I just it wasn't an emotional decision. It was something that I had prayed about because I just refused to do things that God didn't tell me to do. That was something that that's a value that I've always had, something that I've always held on to. I don't want to do things that God hasn't told me to do because I don't want to end up in places that God never called me to. That's a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
I want as much time, like you said, time isn't promised. I want as much time doing the right thing that I possibly can. So I hold myself to this standard
Yeah.
of bro, talk to God about it, surrender it to the Lord, because the Bible also says, pick up your cross and follow him. So, anyways, I was reading this verse and I was like, God, that's me. I left everything. I left brothers and sisters to follow you. I want, like, am I going to be taken care of? Because at this time I still thought I was going to be broke,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But then I read the verse and instantly my eyes opened. I have on Mother's Day, I texted about 20 women because I have so many good mother figures in my life. On Father's Day, I text a lot of men because I have so many good father figures in my life that aren't my dad. Um, uh, when I saw the sisters, I started thinking, and I was like, bro, I have so many good like sisters in my life. Cabin's fiance being one of them. Emily, we got to grow a lot together. My brother's girlfriend, soon to be fiance though, praise God.
Mm.
Um, uh, she is another one that I can really see myself getting closer with and building a good relationship with. But then the brothers, for me, that was the most important because at this time, my relationship with my brother still wasn't that good. He was still living with my dad and therefore thought like my dad and talked to me in the condescending ways that my dad would talk to me. Um, and so, but then I analyzed my life and I saw my brothers, and you were one of them. Uh, my friend Chris, he was one of them. Um, there were so many, and then I thought about Cabin, and Cabin has been one again from the very beginning. When I started my walk in 8th grade, I met Cabin,
Yeah.
and that's when he started his too. Love you, Cabin. Um, and our relationship hasn't always been the best. Like there was one time I tried to cut him off, but he was so dang clingy that I couldn't. And he's here
That's
now.
wild, bro.
And then we were at this Thanksgiving event at the church, and they put a mic in the front, and you go up and share what you're thankful for. And Cabin goes up, and this is like at the time where I'm trying to cut him off. Like I was a butt, okay? Um,
Dang, bro. I did not know any of this.
yeah, he goes up there and starts crying, and he's like, "I'm so thankful for Eli. He's been, the best friend that I could have had through all the things that
Wait,
I'm
this
going
is
through."
actually real?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, and he's saying all these things about me, and I'm like, "Bro, I'm a terrible friend.
Oh my
and
gosh.
after that, I was like, I'm gonna fight for this relationship. I'm gonna put in more effort into this relationship. I'm gonna be a better friend because I suck as a friend,
Wow,
big
bro.
time. And then I started seeing Caben as a brother, and I was like, it don't matter how I feel about my brother, that is my brother, and I'm gonna do what I have to do for this relationship. And we started a Bible club together. We started, well, first it was a Bible study. Then we adopted our school's Bible club.
Yeah, which was fire, by the way.
Yes, it was
You guys are
amazing.
probably like legends at Stockdale forever, bro.
Well, only to the Christians.
Yeah.
But it was still a really good thing because we were able to reach people that we didn't think we could reach.
Yeah.
Caben and I would share our dreams with one another, of like oh, we want to be. Both of us said like we're gonna be pastors, and well, if you're gonna do it and I'm gonna do it, let's do it together. You know.
Yeah.
And from 8th grade, these are my 8th grade conversations that I'm having with Caben, and his voice cracks all the time, and you know, I love you, Caben. But my relationship with him is something that I've stewarded and changed, and the way that I feel about Caben now is I am my brother's keeper, and I need to take care of him because him and I are friends. Him and I are brothers. We're close. I love him. He's family to me. He'll always be family to me. On my favorite contacts, like you know how you call, he's like very high on the list. Like I think it goes my siblings, my mentor, Caben. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you're actually right underneath.
Okay, cool. I was like, I was thinking, bro, where am I on this?
Yeah, this is my partner. So yes, you're right underneath. And Caben, one of Caben's Crockpot Promises is Emily, his fiance, who's about to be his wife.
Come on.
In a month.
Come on.
And he just asked me to be his best man. And
Me too, though.
you know, what?
Huh?
Anyways, and so I've just, oh gosh, bro, I've been like, all right, I'm his best friend. He's my best friend. God, what do I want to do? How do I take care of him? And I actually prayed this 6 months ago, around the same time that I had the idea to do the podcast. And I felt like what God told me to do was bless him. I was like, okay. And so then I've been working at it for 6 months, and now it's the time. Caben, come over here. Come over here. I have something for you.
Put on the master shot.
Yes. Oh yeah, put it. I've been praying about this for a long time. I love you, and I am so excited that you get to walk these things out. And so this is for you. This is for your new house, your furniture, whatever it is that you need, whatever you want to do with it. We love you. We care about you. And go and walk out your Crockpot Promises, bro. Seriously. Okay? Side jobs. Feet pics, follow me on. I appreciate it.
Dang.
You are my brother, and I will do my best to take care of you until we die.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. But yeah, so my relationship with Caben is a Crockpot Promise. Yeah, praise God.
I'm known for not having big reactions, so.
Oh yeah. Caben.
Very cool.
Yeah, if you guys think Caben is just like he
Like,
just took the money and ran.
just took it, dog. On
No,
episode
Caben-
2, you're not
Caben,
gonna believe it.
I had no expectation of him crying, of him falling to the knees or anything.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's mad at me all the time. He gives me like a gift or something. I have no
Yeah.
reaction.
And you're just like,
it's okay.
oh, dang,
Caben,
cool.
I'm not doing it.
Internally,
I'm not doing it for the reaction. I'm not doing it for any of that. It is because I love you. I don't even care if, like, you did say thank you. I didn't care if you didn't, though. It is for you. It has nothing to do with me. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
I love you, Caben.
Thanks, dude.
Go hug your friends. Go hug your
Yeah.
brothers. Go hug your moms.
Go hug your moms.
If you have a dad, go hug your dad as well. hug your kids, whatever it is. Go show some love to the people around you.
Yeah.
Something that we're going to do here at Crockpot Promises, Gabe and I have decided 10% of all of our business profit is just to give. I love giving because God has given to me. And you know, we mentioned the house, didn't talk about it. Bro, I will never trip about money, not because I'm balling, because I'm not. As I also mentioned, I live with my mom. Okay. But
Yeah.
but I will never stop from giving.
Yeah.
Ever. I will never ever stop from giving. Um, and Crockpot Promises, our business, Gabe and I, we are going to give. And so 10% of whatever it is that you guys feel led to give us, 10% will always go to either a charity. We're having talks with the local nonprofit right now to bring them on the episode. The founder, and you know, his ministry is beautiful. Looks out for the foster youth and the less fortunate youth. We have plans on giving to that and helping them out with any events.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I told Gabe like what I love doing is going to Walmart and just blessing people.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just, and then you know, it's just a beautiful moment. And I don't know if we'll necessarily film those because for it's not for like social media.
Yeah.
The only reason why I would film it is that way you guys can see what your money is going to instead of just us saying it like some organizations, you know, oh, donate to the
Yeah.
kids, and like 1% of it goes to the kids and not
Yeah, and
99%
everything
goes
goes
to their own pocket.
Yep.
That's the only reason why I would post us giving out this money. Or you know, whatever it is. You know, does that make
Yeah.
sense?
100%, bro.
So yes, honestly, I feel like this is a good place to stop. I feel good with this episode.
Yeah.
You feel good with this episode?
Yeah, I cried, so I'm like, yeah.
I tried not to while I was talking about Capen. So it took a lot.
And Caben was bawling his eyes out. He was just
on the
like,
inside.
On the inside. On the inside.
But anyways, we love you guys. And we're excited for you to come and learn with us. We're excited for you guys to walk out your own Crockpot Promises, and we would love if you shared it. I think on our Instagram we have the email in there.
Mm-hmm.
If not, we should email us your Crockpot Promises. Talk to us about the things that or DM us. Actually, yeah, DM is way better.
Yeah.
I
was gonna correct
emails
you.
for old people. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
DM.
Business inquiries only email.
Yeah. No,
but
that's
yeah,
actually smart though.
DM us if you have like questions or if there was stuff that you listened and we maybe didn't go as deep or as far as you wanted us to go.
Yeah.
Because we can always circle back because this whole entire first season of the podcast is going to be all integrated into one to where we can build off of previous episodes and then go back.
Yeah. Plus, Gabe and I are learning. We don't know how to do this. So there are going to be things that we'll mention or say. It's like, hey, talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then we won't know to do that unless you tell us. So please tell us because, you know, we need it. We love feedback. We love input. I've always been, or actually take that. Hold on. Scratch that.
Bro.
I haven't always been correctable. I am correctable now. In Jesus' name.
You're way better.
Way better.
You're way better.
Way better.
So yeah, for sure. DM us. And then like just be looking forward to it because we are dropping every Monday. Mm-hmm. It's going to be something that's continuous for this whole first season. Yeah. And then from that point on, since it's all going to be one season within like a 8 to 10 week process.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we're going to remember what we were talking about the weeks before.
Yeah. So
you can bring it up in the comments or the DMs so that we know, like, oh, we can always circle back because we didn't dive into it as much or whatever.
Yeah. So, yes, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. You're wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
I was going to say one more thing. What was it? Oh, yeah. Next episode, fire. We're going to start breaking down behaviors, thinking patterns to kind of like, honestly, what's that one verse? Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Mm-hmm. It all starts with there. You need to start transforming your mind, to start thinking different, to start seeing things different, to start behaving different. We get into all that in next week's episode. So please join us. And yeah, thank you. We will see you next time.
Love you guys. See ya.